Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, east of the Rockies, west of the Atlantic. My name is Brian Engelman, and this is an emergency broadcast of the new American media. Joe Biden is stepping down. I know you say an emergency broadcast, and you go, oh my God, after 1 week ago, our president was shot. How much more emergency can you get? Well, here's where we are. Joe Biden is done. All the people who were asking, why in the world are they having the debate so early? I think they wanted to get this out of the way. They wanted America to see how bad things were. And of course, what did Kamala know and when did Kamala know it? It's Kamala. I have to really change the pronunciation. I guess it's accurate to call Kamala. That's Kamala. I've been calling her Kamala forever. How much did she know and when did she know it? Joe Biden is strong, he's vibrant, he's sharp as a tack, she says. He wasn't. Everybody knows. He wasn't. Never was. Never, never, never was. In fact, I'd go so far as to say Joe Biden was never really even in charge of Joe Biden. We'll get into a whole bunch of things here. First off, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Hit like, hit subscribe, please. We are boosting numbers. The audience is growing, and we're going to continue to provide content. On X, we're at American_media_. That is a nice account for us. It is now growing. It's almost like we took the training wheels off by verifying the account, paying for it. Now it's like, oh, now people are actually seeing things. Wow. Rumble, the new American media, is a great account for us because, wow, we're actually monetized over there. YouTube has made it difficult. They took that away from us. No real good reason. But follow us on YouTube because we have 1,500 videos over the past 13 years. And of course, all of our stuff has been mirrored onto Odyssey. Of course, that's Odyssee. And only referring to the content that wasn't already deleted by YouTube because YouTube is nuts. But it's so nice to have different platforms to be on. I just encourage you to take a look and join us there. So leave your comments. What do you think? There's so many different questions to ask about Joe Biden leaving the race. It's kind of hard to pick which angle to start with. But for all of your comments, post them below. Is he making the right decision? Is Kamala the right person to take over for the Democrat Party? If not Kamala, who else would it be? If you got to wave a magic wand, it kind of gets you thinking, like, what about RFK? And how safe is Joe Biden right now? Because there's a lot of legalities of money being tied up into the party, and if he's there, only he and Kamala are the ones that would have access to it. But what if he's no longer around? Say the Obamas invited him out to go paddleboarding like they did to their chef. Allegedly. It's just so weird, too. I thought Joe Biden was the most popular president in American history. 81 million totally legitimate votes. Why would you ever replace him? He's competent. He's sharp as a tack. We're living in a cuckoo clock, folks. An absolute cuckoo clock. All right, let's start the conversation off with this one. Do you agree or disagree that Joe Biden should step down as president? And should he do it immediately? Now, that's a great question. I have mixed thoughts on this. And by the way, let me actually provide a little bit of cover for Kamala. She doesn't know what she's doing. She has no clue. She's totally in over her head. She has been for a long time. There's a whole apparatus, a management team that kind of runs the air quote White House. I saw the Trump ad that was just released, and I'll play it, and it's powerful. But then you start thinking about it, it's like, what, I'm going to blame the vice president for? Like, everybody knows Biden's out to lunch. Everybody's known this. This is not a secret. It's not like Kamala is the one who is hiding something that only she has the key to, and she's the only one that made it. Yeah, she was the only person responsible for keeping us in the dark about just how out to lunch Joe Biden has been. And that's not the case. So I don't know. I think it's going to be much smarter to focus on the fact that she's the border czar, and this is the most inept / dereliction of duty we've ever seen at the border. That is a stink that's going to follow her around forever. Forever. And it's funny that the Democrats somehow found a way to pick somebody who's less popular than Joe Biden, who was the second least popular person on the ticket. Think back. Pete Buttigieg. Geez, who was on that panel? Was Tulsi Gabbard a Democrat then? She's the one that wrecked Kamala. Be unburdened by the burden, not been burdened. Can you recite the burdened quote from Kamala Harris? All right, let's talk about Joe Biden stepping down as president immediately. It's very interesting because whatever deal was cut for him to go gracefully into that good night, allegedly, he tried really hard to stay in as president, as I'll show you right here. I believe this is the official letter. Hopefully I haven't been duped or swapped it for a different one. Man, we got a lot of stuff on the screen, don't we? Here, let me hide that. That didn't make a bit of difference. That's fantastic. Go picture in picture. Yeah, it's a little bigger. Anyway, let's go ahead and read this statement. Joseph R. Biden Jr. Oh, God, could you imagine how old Joseph R. Biden Sr.? Ooh. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Oh, God, am I going to have to roast this line by line? No, you didn't. No progress. This is regression. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. You've got to be kidding me. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation. Oh, God. Okay, I'm just going to read it and save my commentary. Otherwise, every sentence I'm going to have 10 points I want to make on this. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned, never been better, build back better. America has never been better. That is a terrible sentence. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. That is a terrible sentence, whoever wrote this. Terrible sentence. And all you have to do is say it out loud. Read it out loud in your head and listen to what that sounds like. You don't have to actually... Sorry, I did a lot of editing, and I don't really edit to style. I edit to my style. I know there are some technically, grammatically different things and strategies that I employ, but I know bad writing when I find it. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our preserved our democracy. What are they? Because it's like we've protected and served, but it's we've protected and preserved our democracy. And we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances in the world. Wow, no, you have not. The BRICS nations are, I can't do this, people. I can't just read the whole thing. The BRICS nations are trying to cripple and destroy the dollar because you won't stop trying to create regime change like we're having with Burisma, Biden, Hunter Biden, Zelensky, Ukraine, Russia. People are getting sick of America's meddling, and they've already changed how the currency is backed with oil. Let me rephrase that sentence. Speaking of bad sentences, it's been a long week. We were in Milwaukee, and I've decided I'm going to be doing daily shows now. So allow me to recalibrate a bit. But yeah, there used to be a basket of currencies. Everything had to be in and out of dollars. Dollars were what OPEC used to make oil transactions. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and several other countries now have built their own basket of currencies. People are trying to move away from the dollar. You do get the strong suspicion that when President Trump wins in a landslide blowout, regardless of who the Democrats put up, by the way. You can disagree with me on that if you want, but this is the most locked, assured, 100% guaranteed thing you'll ever see, unless there's rampant cheating. So, anyway, they've strengthened an alliance around the world. We've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. All right. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. Did he? And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I know I read that strangely, but that was another awful run-on sentence. That was 4 lines of text, and it was just, this is very poorly written. Actually, that kind of gives me pause. Maybe Joe Biden did actually write it then. I'm sorry, he would have plagiarized it like he's known for doing. Anyway, right in here, he's making a pitch right now. I would like to stand down and I would like to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. Well, if you can't run for the term, why wouldn't we have you leave right now? If you're unfit in a couple months, you're unfit now. Biden says, I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. I will once again put out there, ask the universe. I'd like to offer a prayer to Heavenly Father, God above, whatever you deem that to be. I would say the same prayer to Barack Hussein Obama, and I'll say it for Joe Biden. I pray to you, oh Lord, to keep them safe from any harm until they can be charged and convicted for treason. Please keep them safe, because Biden he's a dead man walking. His term is lame duck. He has zero utility to the Democrat Party. And legally, I would love to get a little bit of understanding on how it changes if he's no longer around. Can you release the money? What if the candidate, it's one thing if the candidate doesn't run, it's another if the candidate can't run. I don't know. Some of this is very technical, and I don't have every one of those technicalities memorized. So another question of the day, can you help me understand? Leave a comment. Is there a difference in what happens to the money if Joe Biden passes away and maybe the Obamas invite him out for a night paddle boarding? If you remember their chef, who will tell no tales now, longtime chef, Could you imagine the conversations that guy had to have heard? So that is a question I have. Also curious to kind of see. Biden did not want to go. I don't know if it was a humor report from Posobiec, but he said he was hearing that Jill Biden's tantrum lasted 2 hours. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not, or just a joke. But really, shame on Jill Biden for dragging him around, trying to pretend things were okay. That's elder abuse. It's not okay. But one of the concerning things that I said, that I shared, I believe it was another Posobiec tweet. Let me follow us on Telegram at TNAM and TNAM Chat. Poso said, every world power just got told there's an open shot on goal right now. Stay frosty. So let's make sure we take this time right now, folks, and try to prepare a little bit. Water purification, food, resources, safety, community. Try to level up. Try to put some energy, some money, some manpower hours, power hours into bracing for impact. Imagine that this could be dicey for the next couple of months. They're out of ideas. They just shot President Trump. They wanted to JFK him. They tried to JFK him, whoever they are. Are they the same people that let this kid fly a drone, allegedly, over the event? Was it the day of? Or a couple days before? I think it was the day of. Who let him in with a backpack? How does that even happen? How do you get a rifle? How wasn't the whole location scouted and searched? And there's a million unanswered questions there, but they're out of ideas. They've tried everything they could think of to ruin Donald Trump, and none of it has worked. It's all made him stronger. I was having a conversation with my neighbor today, and I said, here's the thing. They can't be stupid enough to think there's any way they can win this term. They've been issued a stand-down order by the American people. They no longer have the consent of the governed. They need to step aside. Slowly raise your hands and walk backward. Put your hands on top of your head. Hey, there's Kenneth. Soon it's going to be bye then. Bye then, Biden. Well, bye. Remember that from Tombstone? Well, bye. Oh, that's a cold scene. I think Wyatt's burying his brother or something. Well, bye. Love that scene. What's up, Kenneth? If you can't handle the germ, you can't handle the term. Yeah, Kamala. I'm calling her unkamalified. She's clearly unkamalified for the position. So anyway, Joe Biden's going to speak to the nation later this week in more detail about his decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work, and let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. Not on presidential letterhead. Very odd that it's not on official letterhead. Once again, like the show, subscribe, and make sure if you're not following us on X, we're at American_media_. You can also go to thenewamericanmedia.com and go on the right-hand side, roll down a little bit, and it's got our Facebook feed, Facebook page, and our X feed if you need to link up that way. All right, I'm going to scroll through a little bit of X, some of the interesting stories from the day. We will unpack them. Let me take this graphic off the screen. So I do have a couple of other questions, and maybe they'll come up. But here, I'll just tell you what they were. Kamala, agree or disagree that Kamala has what it takes to earn the Democrat nomination? I think we're going to find out. I think we're going to find out quick. What is the party going to say? Will you have the same leaders who started to all universally? Wasn't it Chucky Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Barack Obama? Like everybody started calling on Biden to step down. You know, when you've gotten to that point, you're done. But the same way everybody stepped aside because of how the party is organized, that shady Democrat Party. By the way, no, I'll do the sidebar next. When Biden became the guy, it was because everybody above him bailed. They were talked. They cut a deal. They got a bonus. They got a threat. They got a promise. They got a promotion of sorts and said, look, let's just unite behind this guy and let's win. But, you know, it's so interesting to think about the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party, they say about Trump, he's going to steal your democracy. He's going to steal your democracy. Isn't it the Democrat Party that rigged the 2016 election against Bernie Sanders? Yeah, scroll back all those years and find footage. Blake was out there at Philadelphia for the DNC with James O'Keefe and Laura Loomer, and they rigged all the energy in that election cycle on the Democrat Party side. That was for the man, the myth, the legend, Bernie. And what happened? They all rallied around. Everybody pulled their resources together to go behind Hillary Clinton. Remember all the primaries we just went through? The Democrat Party didn't want you to get your say. They didn't want RFK to show up. So who do you think? Here's a question of the day. Hi, Deb. Hi, everybody in the chat room. So, is Kamala, the right person to earn the Democrat nomination? There's wild cards. Look, I think Hillary Clinton has the fast path on this. The infrastructure's there. The legacy surrounding her. The mythology. God, could you imagine another Trump-Clinton rematch? Look, I'm going to say this right off the top, not to make this uninteresting. But there's literally nobody the Democrats could replace Biden with that can win this election. Nobody. Zero. Zero people on the bench. Zero people in the game. None. This is Donald Trump's term. This is it. People saw what happened in 2020 and didn't believe it. People saw what happened to our country for the past 3.5 years now. And they're sick of it. This is going to be one of the biggest landslides in fathomable political history. It doesn't really matter who the Democrats put up. And so, I mean, would they go with Hillary because she's so old? Would they go with Barack Hussein Obama's spouse? That's been long rumored that Michelle Obama could run for the position. What about Pete Buttigieg? Mayor Pete, and all the airline problems we've been having and the chemical spill and raging toxic inferno of fire when East Palestine had a transportation catastrophe on the railroad tracks under the supervision of Pete Buttigieg. Don't forget the Baltimore bridge. I believe it was Baltimore, right? Yeah, we went past it on when we were in D.C. for the Libertarian Convention. That happened on Mayor Pete's watch. You know, it's a little unfair to blame Mayor Pete. Or was that an attack? You know, this was just an accident. President Trump's assassination attempt. What was that? Just a lone gunman? How in the world could anybody reach that conclusion so quick? So many unanswered questions there. But Kamala, does she have what it takes to earn the Democrat nomination? No, she does not. She has what it takes if she's going to be installed. That's the difference there. If everybody rallies and says, look, we need to show some party unity here, we are going to be the ones that are going to knight her as the heir apparent. And if we all just come out and say it, nobody's going to dispute it. So I think there's a lot of that going on. I really do. You know, once again, back to Hill Dog. I just don't know. Does Hillary have an inside track? So wrapping up Kamala, no. She no. She's highly unpopular, very unlikable, strange laugh, unburdened by laughing about the hyena. Burden Ben back better, Ben. Build unburdened by building back better. Better butter. A Joker face, blue smiling face, green smiling. All right. I'm sure that meant something different. Yeah, I'm calling her. You're going to do the swallow. I'm going to call her unkamalified. She is a joke. Blue face, smiling face, green smiling. Big Mike for the spike. Kamala gets the giggle vote. Yeah, the giggle vote is going to be all in on Kamala. I do mispronounce some people's names for fun. I do enjoy George Snuffleupagus, former Clinton era guy that turned mouthpiece for the deep state media on NBC. George Snuffleupagus. It cracks me up. I'm surprised I don't laugh every time I say it because I do find it legitimately funny every time. But I'm not trying to mispronounce Kamala Harris's name. I'm trying to switch it. Are we certain it's even Kamala instead of Kamala? Kamala is such a better name. I've actually been giving her the benefit of the doubt by making that name better. Kamala is like camel. Huh? Or you're Kamala. So I should probably figure it out. I don't want to keep mispronouncing her name, and I've tried greatly to switch it today, and it feels very awkward. Kamala works? All right, fine. I'll keep calling her Kamala. Broke back better, unburdened by what's been better, built back, unburdened, burdened with the what has been, built better, burden. George Buttolodicus? No, not Snuffleupagus. That almost just looks like George. What was I thinking you wrote there? I had a different thought as I was reading it. Oh, like Dukakis. I thought that was like, that's Michael Dukakis. All right. So, look, I'm just going to call this now. Keep your eyes peeled on Hill Dog. The woman's a sociopath. She is. Good Lord. Don't be surprised to see her sit up from the crypt and say, I want one more swat at this. Feed me. She looked very unhealthy toward the end of that, though. She hasn't looked great since either. So I don't think she has it in her. I don't think you can replace. But then again, I'm just saying. I would not put $100 on even odds. Even odds. That's funny. Odd evens. No, I wouldn't place $100 bet with the chance to win $100 that Hillary becomes the nominee. But I'm saying keep your eyes peeled for it. Because she's been a player for a long time. And it's definitely possible. Yeah, Hillary. Her reputation precedes her. That is for sure. So if anybody could scare that party into coming together, I mean, it would be her. I already touched on Mayor Pete. He was trending earlier today as well. I think he represents, I don't know, a theoretical version of Look, there's no chance. There's no chance for any of these Dems. The party is completely turned into the party of women. Mayor Pete's not going to bring the swagger back, if you know. Michelle Obama might bring some swagger back. But the reports were that she wants nothing to do with it. Maybe they do not want secrets coming out. But if the longtime chef is no longer there to tell tales, could she be gunning for the position? I don't know. We'll see about that. Because it's probably going to be an open convention now, right? RFK Jr., an outside chance, perhaps. Once again, there's a lot of legalities and filing timelines and sponsorship, donor donations, FEC. There's all sorts of regulatory. I don't know. I'm just like scrolling through the index list of potential replacements. Trying to see, like, could any of this make sense? So, don't know. But let's talk about what's happening in the world. Of course, we have this pinned here. Make sure you like and subscribe, whatever you're doing now. If you're not subscribed and liked, and hit the notification bell. Maybe leave some comments and try to find us on the other platforms, please. But over here on the New American Media on X, that is, of course, at American_media_. We have an interview with Gateway pundit Jim Hoft discussing election rigging, Trump assassination attempt, J.D. Vance, and more. That was live in Milwaukee when we were there. Benny Johnson tweeting out, Joe Biden will go down in history as the most failed, unsuccessful, and unpopular president in American history. Oh, if I got something to share with you. All right. There's a podcast called the Kill Tony Podcast. Tony Hinchcliffe, a comedian. I believe they host it out of the mothership, down where Rogan does his. Where Rogan does his podcast and he owns a comedy store. This was incredible. Adam Ray was Joe Biden. And man, the faces he was making were so funny. They were both on a panel. It was Adam Ray doing a Joe Biden impersonation, and it was Shane Gillis doing a Donald Trump impersonation. Do yourself a favor, sit down, let this happen. It was astonishingly funny. It was a few hours long. I hope they do it once a month. But this face just reminded me of that, so I'm glad that Benny Johnson shared that. Another question of the day for you guys. Do you feel as though Joe Biden will go down in history as the most failed, unsuccessful, and unpopular president in history? Graham Allen, the guy that got 81 million votes in 2020, just dropped out? Do you believe it was rigged now? By the way, go to CISA.gov/rumor control because they want you to believe that 2020 was the only free and fair election in the history of elections. And merely considering that it wasn't is grounds for all sorts of things that are not great. So go to CISA.gov/rumor control. And look, it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen for countervailing views. Countervailing views. Okay, Deb's going back to lurk mode. All right. Yeah, I know, Killer. God help us. Oh, Killer Bee. Deb is saying, Brian, it's pronounced Kamala. Kamala. That's the way I've been saying it, but now I'm hearing that the right way to say it is Kamala. I don't like that name. I don't want to use it. I'll just call her Kamala. Leo Terrell says, if Joe is unable to run, he is unable to remain as president. Once again, that's kind of what we discussed up off the top. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You saw in Biden's farewell address letter, his Dear John letter. He's saying, I'm going to focus on finishing my term. That was him begging to continue through his term because they're going to try to get rid of him. You saw what they did to try to get rid of Trump. I'd be very, very, very nervous if I were Joe Biden right now. I would stay away from the paddle boards. I would definitely stay out of Butler, Pennsylvania, if you catch my drift. And I think the way that Joe Biden could go down in history is actually helping here is imagine, heaven forbid, once again, remember my prayer at the top that I pray for the health and wellness of that creep Joe Biden so that he can be charged with treason. I don't want him disappearing with tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, and living it up in a retirement home. He's a traitor to the country, and he should be prosecuted for that, and he should face punishment. But just imagine, so keep in mind that I want him safe and protected by the angels until he can be charged with treason and sentenced to a penalty from treason, at which point those angels may go if he's in fact found guilty by a non-biased, impartial situation, completely unlike what you ran Donald Trump through, by the way. So karma would be incredible. But I do fear, and I hope this does not happen, but if you could martyr, you being the Democrat Party, the deep state, the same ones that took a pot shot at our President Trump, if they could martyr Biden on the way out and blame it on MAGA to then call them some sort of domestic terrorist, I don't know what, insurgent, same goofy playbook that you have all across the Middle East. I sincerely pray that Joe Biden is healthy until the end of the election, where Donald Trump wins in a landslide. So I don't think so. If Joe's unable to run, he's unable to remain as president. It's a stamina thing. It's just a recognition of where we're at. There's a timing component. You don't have to, he got lost a couple times when he was talking. He's been able to finish some other sentences, but my God, he really is a train wreck. It is really bad. And if Kamala is going to be the nominee, toss her in right now. Put her in today. Put her in, coach. She's ready to play. Kind of saying a banana peel slip is in the works. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, just stay away from the paddle boards outside of the Obama house, okay? Anyway, MJ Truth Ultra says this. MJ Truth Ultra has been putting out some really interesting stuff. Not super familiar with the account. It does have 292,000 views. What is it? Subscribers? Followers. Sorry, using the wrong word there. Watchdog researcher, humor specialist, unshakable faith, base of operations. So these are this person's thoughts, not mine, but take a listen. Everyone should read this. They successfully replaced Joe Biden on the ballot. But how is the next nominee going to get on the ballot in 2 states? The Heritage Oversight Project highlighted they cannot take Biden off the Democratic ticket in 2 states for any reason other than death or 25th Amendment. Now, is this true? I'm not entirely certain that this is true. However, let's play a thought experiment game. If it's not true, we can take this thought experiment off the table. It's not necessary. But like I said, I'm not completely privy to all the nuts and bolts, all of the inner workings and the deep dive rulebook explanations here. But they're saying other than death or 25th Amendment, they can't take him off the ballot. So that means you can't have the next person in. Will it make a difference? I mean, yeah. Having ballot access with your name already pre-printed on there, all you got to do is click next to it. Yeah, you're going to do much worse if everything needed to be a write-in. Oh, that wouldn't work. By the way, speaking of write-ins and party shenanigans, I do just want to give this shout out. I've been meaning to have like a RNC wrap-up program. Maybe I'll get Blake in next week. We'll see how things go, but I would like to do a wrap-up on the RNC. I know I've sort of been talking about it, but I haven't really done a deep dive. And I do have man on the street stuff that I do need to edit and put out. But I want to give the Republican Party a little bit of credit right now. The concern that I had was that Donald Trump needs to get his MAGA party on all 50 states because it was possible they could pull some sort of shenanigans and still keep him off the ticket in Milwaukee. Now, look, right before, just a couple of days before accepting the nomination, someone took a headshot on him. They tried to get rid of him that way, whoever they are. No, I don't believe this is just one person acting. Yes, we think we might have heard 3 distinctly different shots if you listen to the audio. That could have been one shooter and 2 counter snipers. It could have been somebody in the building underneath. That guy was just the patsy. Don't know. Not entirely sure. So will he be 25th? Will Biden be taken off by 25th Amendment, or will they take him out? Very interesting to see. This article continues, Joe Biden did not die, nor has he been removed via the 25th Amendment. Also, there are 2 or more problematic states now, Nevada and Wisconsin. Wisconsin does not allow withdrawal from the ballot for any reason beside death, and Biden hasn't died. Nevada, no changes can be made to the ballot after 5 p.m. on the 4th Friday in June of an election year, or a nominee dies or is adjudicated insane or mentally incompetent. It's past June, and Biden has not died, nor 25th. Georgia, if Biden were to withdraw less than 60 days before the election, his name will remain on the ballot, but no votes will be counted. Not applied here. Texas, the 2 parties' nominees have until the 74th day before the election to withdraw from the ballot. As of today, there are 106 days until the election. Wow! I know we're getting down to it. 369, 3 months and a week or 2. A 106 days until the election. 106 days. Anyway, in Texas, as of today, 106 days, and the next candidate can be added there. Some states, like South Carolina, do not allow candidates to withdraw for political reasons. This is still up in the air. No indication if they will allow the change in South Carolina. Some states don't have any laws on the books for dealing with a potential presidential nominee withdrawing, and there is little precedent for such a situation occurring. The next 2 weeks will be interesting. So, unless they use the 25th Amendment to remove him or kill him, the next presidential nominee won't be a choice in the next election. The Rockefeller precedent is looking more and more enticing. So, these are some of the source articles, Heritage Foundation, Oversight Project, kind of breaking this stuff down for what it's worth. Like and subscribe to the show as you're listening to it, and please make sure you're subscribed, following us on X at American_media_. Yeah, old Yeller. Oh, come on. You know the thing. Duh. Anyway. Elon Musk says White House aides have learned that Biden was dropping out because they were reading X. So how interesting is that? White House aides learned Biden was dropping out of the race because they were reading X, his platform. What an interesting moment that had to be. Let's read a Kamala Harris post. This is still up. She didn't feel like taking it down. Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. I'm praying for his quick recovery. Oh, his quick recovery. From what? Wow, this was an attempted modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this hate. Wow. Okay, I'm going to reshare this. Just, I don't even know what to say. Just, wow. And remember, Kamala was pushing a get bailed out of jail fundraising effort during the Summer of Love, where Democrats encouraged the destruction of American cities across the nation. Dave Rubin says about that Kamala Harris tweet, the fact that she still has this tweet up should be immediate disqualification. Good point. These are two different articles here. Mike Davis putting this out, Elon retweeting this, saying the Biden administration beefed up Secret Service protection for President Zelensky, and they denied beefed up Secret Service protection for President Trump. It is stunning. I have not wanted to think about what would have happened if that bullet was 2 inches to the right. I don't like living in that headspace, but like, there's obviously thought experiment, rationale. There's reasons why we do this. It helps us look at the story like a bicycle wheel. The story's the center. We're all cruising around on the outside of the tire part, but spokes from different angles reach in from different perspectives and meet together at the middle. But man, just looking at that picture again, if they had actually offed him, I don't know what that would mean. It would not be good. And I'm just so grateful. This has all moved really fast. This might have been one of the most jam-packed weeks of American political history. From the RNC, the survived assassination attempt, Biden dropping out, the vacuum now. Nature abhors a vacuum. So we're going to see who rises up in the Democrat Party, who they're going to unite behind. There's a lot at stake here, people. A lot at stake. This one here from Vigilant Fox asking Pete Buttigieg. Look, Mayor Pete's out there. You know what? Here, let's hear from Mayor Pete. You know why? Because he's going to be on the short list of people to consider for the position.
Should Joe Biden have hired the Secret Service head? I mean, I don't understand that.
I'm not in on all the details of the Homeland Security side. I know there's a really serious after-action report and process and a whole lot of scrutiny going on there. I think, everything that led up to that moment, that horrible moment, is under a microscope. And I believe that President Biden and the administration will do the right thing.
But you didn't need a microscope to see it.
Yeah, but you also...
The guy was on the roof, like not that far away, with a rifle for a long time. I mean, I've seen people fired for less. And it just looks bad. It looks like, well, the other guy from the other party got shot. We'll look into it if we have time.
I think it's that when something of this gravity happens, you don't just dash off a decision. You do a comprehensive process to find every single piece of anything that could go wrong. And then there's going to be accountability and there's going to be change. I'm sure of that. Again, I'm not in the middle of that, obviously. That's not my lane. But I know that's what's going to happen.
Should Joe Biden...
Yeah, I don't know. Once again... I think the answer is that this person, the head of the Secret Service, should be arrested for suspicion of an assassination attempt. How do you let someone breach that perimeter? How do you let him up on the roof? How did he get a gun past security? There are multiple. Why wasn't he taken out by somebody else? Why didn't they already have somebody having air superiority there? Why was he allowed to fly a drone? There are so many questions. She should have to talk her way out of the paper bag trying to figure out. It's almost like guilty unless proven innocent. Unfortunately, that is how the law works in way too many ways these days. But in this case, it is statistically more unlikely than that could have been such a series of blatant screw-ups than it is that it was just one rogue guy got away with something and he was just super clever. No, there's redundant layers. The perimeter established, you can't get past it with a backpack or a gun. So the question goes, did he have something stashed on the ground somewhere else? And if the answer is yes, how was that not located during the sweep? There's a sweep. There's always a sweep. People were pointing at him. People were, hey, there's someone up on the roof with a gun. He's right there. How were they not, didn't instantly communicate that and drop Trump down into a new device that I created? It's a stage with a trap door. Instead of being rushed off stage and one guy's trying to put his hand up to cover it, like drop him down, put him in a sealed cocoon, and then wheel the cocoon out. Have it underneath the stage. You drop down. It's like a casket. It closes tight. It's got, fresh air being pumped in. It's impenetrable. And you take that into the back of the beast. Make that happen. Jeez, because you just wonder if there was a second shooter. Man, there were opportunities with the fist bumps, and then again with the hand raised at the car door. So I don't know. Pete Buttigieg punting on the question. To be fair, it's not his lane. I'm going to give him a little bit of, I'll cut Pete a little bit of slack there. It's not really his place to make that call, but I mean, it's obvious. Like Bill Maher pushed back. It's like, but you don't need a microscope. This is obvious. Like there's not. It's obviously dereliction of duty or a plot. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just all incompetence, but it feels like it's likely. Anyway, put this out here, giving a take on Biden stepping down. Our take was this. Obama takes this L. Joe was obviously senile, and it was Obama in the basement all along. We're giving Obama the credit as worst president. This third term with Joe at the end of puppet strings was breathtaking. Jimmy Carter lived to see someone claim worst president title. And that's my take on that. So that's the gist of the breaking news today. Curious to get your thoughts, however you're listening to this. Lots of questions. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow us in all the places. If you'd like to support The New American Media, patreon.com/The New American Media, or Venmo at Brian Engelman, BrianEngelman. Those conventions ain't going to cover themselves, and the bills must be paid. Kenneth, thank you so much for being there. Deb, thank you so much as well. We'll be back tomorrow. I have more videos to upload from Milwaukee. Did a good interview with Scott Pressler. I got to locate the video file. I think Blake still has it. I swapped the card and took the wrong file. Scott Pressler doing a lot of work to get out the vote. And that's something I think we all need to be doing, having a few more conversations with our neighbors, our friends, or families. It's tough because some people are triggered. They just don't want to even talk about it. I encountered that yesterday with somebody that I know, and they're just like, please, can you just not bring up politics or current events? I'm like, but it's what I do. It's what I talk about. It's what I think about. And I think our country's in a bad position because too few of us actually have open and honest conversations about important policies. I think it's what could potentially fix our country. I obliged. And I know, you don't want to get people riled up. I get it, but come on. You just shot the president. It's like they're shooting us. The most powerful thing Donald Trump has ever said, perhaps, is that they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I just happen to be standing in the way. And I do feel that, and I do take that personally. I really do. The American people have issued a stand-down order to the people that have seized power in 2020. Enough is enough. Stand down. You've lost the consent of the governed. Go home, lick your wounds, and try to figure out what a real political party looks like. Because this Democrat Party ain't it. This Democrat Party is so far different from those rational Democrat politicians of the past. I mean, you look back at least some of the policy positions of even Bill Clinton. Wow. They say JFK was the last real Democrat. I mean, go back to some of these. It is such a wildly different party right now. And it's something the American people have rejected. So Vote fraud is a very important issue. Securing the vote is very important. And getting the vote out is very important. Vote early. Get it in. Get confirmation. Whatever the case is, we got to start doing what the Democrats are doing, because you can't cede another 4 years to just a breathtakingly bad ideology that is wreaking havoc across this country. So the stand down order has been given. I think whoever, we were tweeting this out for a long time. I guess we got to put this tweet out, this X again. Said, we're already against whoever they replace Biden with. And I think today it's going to mean something special. So I'll put that out. Make sure you're following us at American_media_. Our Spotify channel for podcast. Look up the Agree to Disagree show. We'll put these up there. Rumble. Find the New American Media. Hit subscribe. We need more Rumble subscribers. We've been seeing some growth. We've been seeing some nice growth on Rumble. Nice growth on X. Really happy about that. Still very throttled on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But we're seeing growth in some other places. It's really nice. Truth Social. I recommend you have a Truth Social account, if only as a backup. And while you're there, follow us, the New American Media. Telegram, TNAM, and TNAM Chat. TNAM for the New American Media. Get us there. YouTube.com/@the New American Media. Facebook, do a search in the groups section for TNAM. See if you can find TNAM's The Agree to Disagree show. And we have a page, Facebook page. Also, we have about 20 other Facebook groups. TNAM Grow Something, TNAM Humor, TNAM Food and Drink, TNAM Preparedness. We don't just talk politics. There's a lot of issues and places where I'm very interested. I don't really advertise the Unhappy Hour sports show, but that is my sports show, and it's a good one. That's on Facebook as well if you'd like to follow us. Instagram, the New American Media. Link up with us in all the places. All right, so I'm going to sign out this quick emergency broadcast under an hour. Bang, bang, bang. I know, a week after the bang, bang, I should come up with another phrase. I think I said 2 or 3 other things this broadcast that as I finished, I was like, maybe I should use a different verbiology. But yes, we'll be back tomorrow doing daily broadcasts as many days as possible from here on out. 106 days. Let's hit it hard. Let's link our arms and do this together. Let's make America awesome. All right, signing out. I appreciate you. I love you.